Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Friday morning trading session. The markets just opened up. And it looks like they were fairly stagnant in the overnight. And that shouldn't be too much of a surprise. The markets finally got up here to this 43.50 area, which we've been watching for a while now. It's actually had me pretty bullish, and I'll pull up a daily chart here in a moment so that you can see. But I'll just scroll back real quick. You can see where we left off here around the 43.40, 43.45 area. Market really didn't do very much last night. Tailed off, I guess, a little bit in the overnight. This is, of course, on the Raptor, and made a slightly little recovery, and here we are again. Now, the Raptor is actually producing a sell signal already, and I'm going to throw in an order here just below these lows, because we've had a little bit of a test of the extreme here. I'm going to cover above the swing high, and this is very aggressive. Oh, let's make it a stronger swing high. There we go. I want it right up there, because they're going to be thrashing about a little bit here this morning while they look to get some direction. Stay up there. And I said I was going to build you a daily chart so you could see this, but while we're letting that trade unwind a little bit, I'm going to flip the break-even trigger, and it just does not want to stay up there for me. Trying to multitask. My wife will be the first to tell you I'm not a very good multitasker. It's a guy thing, what can I say? Okay, so here's the daily on the NQ, the NASDAQ. And, you know, we've been watching this trend line. And lo and behold, when we first spotted this, we were way down here. This is why we were a little bit more bullish the last few days. On the NQ, we had this nice little run up. And here we are. Right into this whole resistance area around 43.50, 43.45. And this is going to make me kind of bearish today. I think we're not going to be the only ones seeing this trend line. And I think we're not going to be the only ones looking to sell off today. Perhaps, you know, if we got long on this last little rally, traders who are holding, it's Friday, they might be looking for a good reason to take some profit. All that could weigh on the market. So currently short on the Raptor right out of the gate. And just letting that trade mature a little bit. Come on, get down there. At least get to that first profit target so I can roll you to break even. Notice the struggle that we're encountering on this bar. This is near some of the lows from the overnight. See, just a few hours ago, the market bottomed out here at 43.24. Not quite that low yet, but we're definitely in that neighborhood, and that's putting a little bit of stress on the market. All right, I can't stand it anymore. We're going to take the trade to break even now. All this waffling, you know, if the buyers take control here, they could, I don't suspect they're going to force the market all the way back up here to 43.57. But if the sellers can't push it at this point, then it's probably time to go. Come on, get down there below that low. There we go. So notice the width of this bar here on our dynamic equivolume bars. It just confirms what we were seeing with that struggle. A lot of struggle going on. Now notice these bars are relatively thin, which is what we want to see because that's going to show us a market that is pretty much progressing with the trend now. And I'm moving into the parabolics. Which will be a little bit more aggressive. Hold me in for more of this trade. And so far, not a bad way to start the day. Thanks, Jim. Jim giving us some early advanced decline numbers here. 1,700 on the buy, about almost 800 on the sell. So that's a positive 900, but he's watching a few of the indices here, suggesting that the NQ is the weakest of the bunch. NQ not really following as closely as it normally does. Come on, get down there. So what we're looking at now is a little retest of the breakout. So we've had our breakout, now we're getting this was our test right here. Now we're getting our retest. Look, right back in this same area where we had the big struggle going on before. And I'm just going to let the parabolics manage the trade for me. Although if I wanted to give the trade a little bit more staying power, I would roll above the high of this candle right here. Right above that wick, because that is the one that is showing all the strength on the seller's part anyhow. This one not bad. You could probably roll down to this one now, where we're at. And notice the width of this bar here showing us some buying pressure. So here come the buyers again. Here are the sellers. So we definitely have this market now within a tight little range. Slightly higher swing high, suggestive that we are going to see the buyers perhaps make a little bit of a push here. Come on, sellers. This bar is a little bit light. Where's all the sellers? Where'd they all go? Yeah, the sellers have left the building. But that's okay. Not a bad start to the day. There we go. One for the good guys. I was looking for perhaps a little bit more follow through on that, but we'll probably get another chance here. We had comparable signals. Let's do the eagle first. When that signal unfolded on the Raptor, we had this rule of three signal here on the eagle. Now, I know you're looking at this and saying, well, Eric, there's only two signals contra to the band. How is that a rule of three? Well, the rule of three is just a general principle, right? It's showing us the market signaling against the dominant band. So the band is bullish, but we're producing sell signals. What makes the rule of three really the rule of three is this test of the extreme. Once we get that test of the extreme, it won't ever develop on the first signal, but sometimes it will develop on the second. Usually it develops on the third. Sometimes it will develop on the fourth. So that's why I mean it's a very general principle. If you miss the rule of three signal, you did have a chance here for a with trend signal, although it looks like we'd still be sweating that one a little bit. I do believe it's going to head lower, so if you took that with trend signal, I don't think you need to panic just yet, but obviously taking a little bit of heat on that trade. So the buyer's trying to press a little bit on that last little move lower. We had that right out of the gate. We had our macro pullback signal. First micro macro crossover occurred here about a half an hour before the open, but a nice macro pullback, a double macro pullback here, and as you can see, normally we only get two macro pullbacks within a trend, so if we were producing a third one here, I would be a little bit suspect, probably dial down the risk a little bit. So it looks as though we're going to try to retest this whole 4350 area. I'll tell you, if they blow through 4350 today, that will definitely be a surprise. You know how I always say the big money's on the surprise side? Well, that would be a big surprise. All right, a little chance here for a scalp. Our first micro macro cross. I'm a little bit late on that one, sorry. But as we get near 4350, I think we're going to expect a little bit of resistance. So the type of position I think you're going to want to be all in, all out on. Just looking to get up there one more time, give it one more little kiss. Come on, get up there. There we go. Come on. Come on. You know you want to. Get up there. There we go. All right, so that first micro macro cross. Oh, actually, I did have a second chance to get in on that. Found our profit objective, and now we're in this whole 4350 area, and we'll just wait and see how the market reacts to that. if it's going to do as we suspect and maybe head a little bit lower from here. Let's take a look at the Geiger counter. Loads of buy orders come in, and look at the sell orders. The needle is dead even right now. Oh, there we go. Starting to drift a little bit to the downside. Oh, way to go, Mark. Mark says he bagged a couple late filter entry signals on the Falcon. Well done. Jim's letting me know that the bank index is still pretty bullish. The idea behind the bank index is that the market tends to move in sync with the bank index most of the time. But as with all things trading related, it works until it doesn't work. We've all been there. All right, notice the width of these bars here on the dynamic equivolume bars. Serious struggle at this 43.50 area. Now let's see what kind of follow through we get, if any. Right, the lack of a bullish or bearish follow through here would be significant. All that volume needs somewhere to go, right? It's how's that go? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Well, we're getting a lot of action here, so let's see what kind of reaction we get. The Hawk still remaining bullish, as is the Falcon. Well, okay, a little bit of follow through here. our support and resistance suite, we've traded back to the median line. Just waiting for a fresh signal, getting a double dot here on the Falcon. We don't normally do double dot signals. The double dot is our counter trend signal. This looks like as good a place as any to do one. Your double dot occurs when you're producing, in this case, sell signals against a bullish trend line and filter. But the double dot, because it's counter trend, you always want to tie it in with something in the history of the chart. So you want to be able to go back here and say, oh, okay, last time prices were here, this is what happened. So for this double dot trade to work out, we need to produce a sell signal yet. And we're not getting one just yet. But if you can't tie the double dot in with a reactionary area nearby, it's not a trade to take. And it's a lot more risky because it is counter trend, which is, again, why I tend not to point it out very often. But there it is. Oh, Jim says the indices are all in sync now. We'll see whether the NASDAQ here gives us that sell signal, and I can show you what the double dot sell looks like. See, because you get double dot signals throughout, right? We got a double dot here, we got a double dot here. You just don't go ahead and sell without some sort of structure. Like, you wouldn't sell here, there's nothing to tie into unless you're prepared to, risk the trade way up there. However, these double dots, if we come back with a sell signal now, this could be a little bit more enticing. We'll keep an eye on that anyway. Back near these highs makes me a little bit leery. Okay, here we go with the double dot sell. So, producing double dots, in this case here, there was a triple dot. It's a sign of weakness. Okay, here we're going to get another double dot, and there's our sell. The nice thing about the double dot signal is that you can cover it above the high. So it's going to be very obvious if you're on the wrong side of this trade, right? The market's going to bring you in, it's going to reverse, it's going to take out the highs. Because it's counter trend also, a lot of times I'll maybe just throw a onesie on it or reduce the risk exposure. I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive on this one. And we should be able to get to our break-even trigger. Get down there. There we go. Got our break-even. Come on, don't stop now. Get going. There we go. There we go. Okay, so it's a quick little swing. The trend line has now changed color. There's a very good chance it's going to build into a proper trend change signal. So if you're trying to hold on to this trade for more, you're going to try to hold your stop back a little bit, maybe even above the high to allow the market to do its little swing, right? The trend line has changed color. Here's the down. We need to anticipate an up followed by another down, which will then produce our proper trend change signal. But it looks as though we may be on the right side of that little move right there. Okay, producing now our first micro macro cross signal. And what is the problem with this one, class? No, that's right, no test of the extreme yet. So we're working on our test of the extreme, still working a first micro macro cross. Ideally, you want to risk it way up there, which I realize is a long ways away, but would you rather give the trade enough room to find your profit target, or do you want to keep a smaller stop loss only to get stopped out prematurely? Yes, that is a rhetorical question. Oh, and while I think of it, I won't be available this Monday. There won't be a trading room this Monday. Adam's going to send you out an email reminder, but just while I have you here. Okay, possible late filter entry signal here on the Falcon, and you can see our filter still out of sync where trend line has not changed color. Working a warning dot. And that warning dot has disappeared. All right, well, we'll put that back on the shelf for the moment. You can see the width of some of these bars here. There's some obvious selling going on there. While buying also, not just selling. Soybeans dead quiet this morning, as is crude oil. Crude oil made a little bit of a rally out of the open. Well, actually a little bit of a decline and a little bit of a rally, but for the last, looks like about 15 or 20 minutes, it's just been moving sideways. Well, thought I'd be seeing a test of the extreme here and then a subsequent failure, but maybe not. The buyer's a little bit reluctant to give it up, and well, for good reason, I suppose. The trend line has since spoiled our late filter entry signal, and the hawk is still into a bunch of yellow bars. So tough little situation we find ourselves in. Yeah, a waffle day, like Jim says. I thought we had enough of those this week. Saw some big moves this week in the afternoon. Actually, about a half an hour after the open, we would typically see a big move, and then a couple hours before the close, that seemed to be when all the action was going on. Everything else in between was just kind of watching the grass grow. All right, we're getting working on a trend change signal again here. The same kind of scenario, a rule of 3 based on a rule of 2. First micro macro cross here in the hawk, which is trying to slip away from me. And they slipped us a tick. And the raptor also giving us a trend change signal, similar to the rule of 3 that we see from on the eagle, kind of borrowed from that tool. And with the raptor here, you could even just enter below that little swing low, get that second push going on. There we go, come on. Oh, what is with this always looking back? Get going. So here we are on the hawk. We're holding up right on these lows, taking a little bit of a bounce. This is where the buyers got busy before. This is where the sellers came in. Buyers tried to buy it back. Sellers said, oh no you don't. Buyers said, oh yes we do. And now it's back in the seller's court. Okay. So the seller's maintaining control so far. And we're producing a couple of sell signals here on the Raptor, and we'll better throw a safety net in there. There we go. So the sellers on the Geiger counter pressing the market pretty good. About to hit our break-even trigger. There we go. And about to hit our first profit objective. Get down there. Don't you dare stall. Get. Oh my gosh. Don't you dare turn. Not there. One tick from the profit target. This is because of the later entry that I got. The signal was right here. There we go. Okay. That's more like it. And I'll move into the parabolics again. I'd like to try to nurse this trade, well, all the way down here, at least to the lows of the morning. But I think we could go a lot lower still. I think we could see it fall maybe 43.20, dare I say. That was a kind of an important price yesterday. That was near yesterday's high. All right, let's see how the rest of our trades are doing. Okay, we're on the break even on the Eagle. We did have a trend change signal here on the Falcon. We're about to hit our primary support level. And there's 43.20. Look at that. We're getting secondary support at 43.18.5. Yeah, I have a feeling I should have been more aggressive here with my stops also. Well, we'll leave it up to the parabolics. Get the trade back to break even. And the market reversed enough here on our Raptor to hit our trailing stop. But it looks like the Eagle is going to progress a little bit lower here and hopefully get to our profit target. without too much fuss. Come on, get down there. Now I'm going to take profit on target, but we'll see whether or not we can actually get this market to tail off all the way down to 43.20. Come on, give me that profit. My stop should actually be no further than that, and probably even no further than that if this bar reverses on me. What have we got in open profit? Yeah, 150 bucks. I don't want to give all that up. So I'll just squeeze the trade really hard now. They kissed the profit target, but we needed one more tick to put us over the edge. Get down there. Come on now. Come on. Hey, this way. And we'll pull it down a little bit. There we go. Come on. That's it. There you go. One more. One more push. There we go. Oh, that was hard work. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of heat here, I think, as we encounter some of this support now, which is only natural. Clean this up a little bit. Well, a pretty solid morning for the most part. Oh, while that was going on, while we were nursing that, crude oil finally made a move. Here's crude oil. Nice first micro-macro cross on crude. Now, of course, problem with crude is I can't afford to cover it all the way up there. So we have to improvise. Can we go to the macro line? Yes. It was never any doubt. The market just tailed straight off. And we got a nice signal on the eagle as well. Let me bring the eagle over here for you. So here was the eagle on crude. Nice green bar sell right off of that hard edge bounce. And that too, the signal produced right here, but it was against the ATR, so I would have used that bar there as my signal bar. Can't cover above the high. Can I cover to the hard edge? Yes. But here too, it was never an issue. Would have got sweaty palms on this bar here, as it looked like the market was possibly getting ready to reverse, but no. Looks like crude definitely in a downtrend today. Just letting the NQ sort themselves out a little bit here. Into yellow bars now on the hawk. Possible trend change signal working here on the falcon. Tony is asking, Eric, what's your daily P&L as of now? Well, Tony, in the room here, I'm only on sim. And there's reasons for that. Some of them legal, and then others, it's just too difficult to trade for real and try to explain things to people. So I don't really, or I haven't been tracking my P&L overall, because some of the trades I take are, demonstration trades. I do try to focus on higher probability signals for you, though, because I know some of you like to mirror the trades that I show here. And so I always try to show you the ones that are the strongest, or I try to point those out. People always ask, well, when do you trade? Well, I trade end of day, and sometimes I'll trade the afternoon sessions also. I'm not very interesting to be around when I'm trading, because I'm totally focused on what's going on the charts. I don't explain anything. I don't talk about anything. That's why we do the trading room in Sim. We did do the trading room live one day, and I had to close the comment box so I wouldn't be distracted, and people were writing into the comment box, say something already, tell us what you're doing. No, when I'm trading, the office door is closed, the phone is off the hook, no distractions. We did do the 20-day challenge, though, and the 20-day challenge was to see if we could be profitable every day for 20 days. And I do apologize, I did lose track of that for a couple days here and there. I forgot that we were doing it, but you can see that it isn't out of the realm of possibility to be profitable for 20 days. Most of traders' problems come about from over trading. I have to say I'm a little bit surprised and equally impressed by the buyer's ability to push the market all the way back here to 43.50. Yeah, I agree with you, Mark. Mark says, looking at the eagle, it looks like the market's in a much larger sideways range. I would go with that. You know, for those of you who like to sell resistance and buy support, if the market gets back up here, throw in a sell order. And likewise, if it gets back down here, toss in a buy order. Oh, good. Tony says last Wednesday's session, a couple days ago, I made a few comments about overtrading. He says that was an epiphany for him. Well, I'm glad. But it's true. Almost everybody I've met, almost without exception, was an overtrader. And, you know, honestly, it's easy to do. We do it out of boredom. We do it out of hope. But like, here's our first micro-macro cross signal on the hawk. All right, it's the first micro-macro cross. It's a high probability signal. But what am I missing here, right? I don't really have a test of the extreme. So how am I going to cover this trade? Well, you know, I went to the macro line and the trade did work out for us. But when this signal is building, you know, it's perhaps not as strong a looking signal as this first micro-macro cross, where we've already had a test of the extreme, the market's come down. Well, actually, I guess our first micro-macro cross was right there. We had our test of the extreme, the market seems to have a little bit more structure to it, and there we go. So on the surface, I would have considered this signal more probable than this one here. Even though both worked out, well, this one just worked out. Even though both worked out, this one here, I would have said was the higher probability of the two because it had more structure. We had our test to the extreme, and it looked as though the sellers were going to make a concerted effort. Here, the buyers, no question, have pushed the market higher. But where did the sellers go? The sellers, 43.50. We know that's a sensitive area, 43.50 to 43.60. I don't think they quite got 43.60 today, but every tick within this zone has got to be attracting the attention of the sellers. So even though it's a high probability signal, you know, you need to temper that with the context that you see on the chart. So here they come again. Now, here's something I don't point out very often, again, because it's a counter trend signal. I don't want you looking at counter trend signals. But there's obvious resistance up here. We haven't seen a test of the extreme. We have a macro pullback signal, which we know is a high probability signal. So if we have a high probability signal fail, excuse me, if we have, sorry, if we have a high probability signal fail, it's likely that this would be a good place to sell. It's kind of the same premise as our red bar buy and green bar sell. Same but different. Okay, and it looks like that first that macro pullback signal went high enough to find its profit objective. All right, so we're getting some conflicting signals now. This is essentially a hard edge bounce. Also a trend change. Look at how it's waffling though. Okay, here's crude oil on a 3-arrow consolidation here in the hawk. Again, I'm a little bit late, but you could bracket the range like this. With crude oil, because it tends to move a little bit more aggressively, I will go off of a 3-arrow consolidation. I won't necessarily wait for the 4. This consolidation pattern, either the 3 or the 4 arrow, is the only one that I will consider taking off of yellow bars. So it's a little bit of a tight trade, but there you go. If crude oil folds over from there. So they're continuing to press. Wow, look at them go. Right back up to the highs of the day. Okay, so a couple macro pullback signals here on the hawk. The bar is getting a little bit wider again. Back to the median level. Back to the high of the morning. I don't mean to sound contrarian, but almost looks like we could move a little bit lower from here. I considered this buy signal here, and so far it's holding its own. But of course, the highs of the range gave me pause. Crude oil with our consolidation pattern now working a first micro macro cross higher. So we can cancel our initial plans and perhaps reverse the decision and look to buy a breakout higher. Conversely, you could also do an OCO order. You could buy up here. You could sell down here. And it would have the same effect. Just remember, if you get brought in, you have to activate your stops. So I'm still watching crude oil and still waiting for the market to get out of that sideways range a little bit. Soybeans ended up making a rather strong move lower. So right here we had our trend change signal and big follow through there. Look at that. Off of the primary support, 1, 2, 3 full zones. Amazing. Big move in soybeans. Wow, the buyers just keep pressing. I'm afraid to buy in at these levels. I know that sounds kind of odd, but we're producing a couple of buy signals here. I've been reluctant to commit to one. Oh, I should have taken this late filter entry signal here. This is one I would have tried, just based on the probabilities of the signal. So we have our trend line not changing color, our filter going out of sync, coming back into sync, and there's our late filter entry signal. That is one I would have tried, and it did turn out to have some good follow through to it. Yeah, too bad I missed that one. Well, come on, you guys. We've broken out of this trading range, so we should see a retest somewhere through here. That retest should give us another buying opportunity. Probably develop something like that. I wouldn't be opposed to a deeper retest, perhaps something that would generate a red bar buy or even get us into the hard edge. I would be okay with that. Okay, so again, a series of macro pullback signals. Not something I would recommend that you short, but but I'm doing this for demonstration purposes. Now watch, the market's going to head higher again. You know, it's been a long week when you start to see things on the charts that aren't really there. All right, well, I'm going to throw this in just for demonstration purposes. It looks like it is going to hold. It looks like we are getting a test of the extreme, in which case the market will start searching for support now. These things tend to happen too when you start generating a lot of signals and it isn't like a four-arrow consolidation. So essentially what we're looking now is for the breakdown of the macro pullback signal. And please don't go out of your way looking for these counter trend trades. You can see I would have had a profitable trade had I just taken it with trend like I'm supposed to. But I don't know, I got something going on in the old noodle today. I just got to short it. Okay. So here again, another macro pullback signal. All this is starting to confirm some of the weakness. And we'll see now whether we get a follow through on that. Okay, into yellow bars. Come on, break down already. You know you want to. Here we go. Come on, break down. Okay, there we go. Whew, that was a tough one too. Oops, there we go. All right, you guys, it's nearly the top of the hour, so um, I think we're going to button things up a little bit early today. It is Friday, after all. If you are trading this afternoon, I think we're going to see a little bit of a pullback here. I know I've kind of been bearish on the day, but I think we will see a little bit of a pullback, and um, I wouldn't be surprised to see the market perhaps recover back to that whole 45.40, or pardon me, 43.40, 43.30 area, pretty much where we began the day. You got to think that that daily resistance is going to come into play here. But yeah, be careful. Things will slow down a little bit this afternoon, as they typically do on Fridays. So be careful out there. All right, you guys, have yourselves a wonderful weekend. I will see you Tuesday. Remember, no trading room on Monday. Talk to you then. Bye for now.